Hi everyone, and welcome to this week's Wellness Wednesday episode of our Arthritis at Home program. My name is Maya Joshi, and I'm the program coordinator at Arthritis Consumer Experts. I'm so excited to be speaking with Eileen Davidson today about the topic of parenting with rheumatoid arthritis during the COVID-19 pandemic. Eileen is a member of the Arthritis Patient Advisory Board at Arthritis Research Canada and is a well-known patient advocate who engages with a number of arthritis organizations. She was diagnosed with RA at 29 years old. In late 2016, she became an ambassador for the Arthritis Society and created her own blog, chroniceileen.com. She has been a regular writer for Creaky Joints since 2019, and she's been featured in Reader's Digest Canada, Inked Magazine, CBC, CNN, and CTV News. In addition, Everyday Health and Healthline recognized her blog as one of the top 10 arthritis blogs for a number of years running. The Arthritis Society recently recognized her with a Mary Pack Volunteer Award for her outstanding volunteer contributions to the Arthritis Society and the arthritis community at large. Thank you so much for joining us today, Eileen.
No problem. Thank you for having me here. My pleasure.
Yeah, absolutely. So we were wondering if you could start off by explaining some of the challenges that you've been facing as a mother with RA during this time.
Well, I think it just kind of heightens all of the challenges that I experienced before this pandemic, but I've got a lot more responsibilities, and also I guess like there's a lot of things I can't do anymore that helped me before be the mom that I kind of want to be, because symptoms tend to get in the way a lot, particularly fatigue. Fatigue's probably the biggest challenge that I find with living with rheumatoid arthritis, not even as just a mother, but just as a person. And with the pandemic going on, I'm unable to exercise as much or as I'd like to. I was used to my routine, so I've had to make some really big changes in my life, plus all the other changes that this pandemic is creating. So it's just been kind of picking up the pieces and making the adaptations that we need to make to kind of get through this. But that is a lot harder when you're dealing with symptoms on it, as opposed to somebody who just has to figure out how they work out at home, or do they work at home, that kind of thing. So I would definitely say fatigue is the biggest challenge. And then also with the schools being closed, I have to entertain my son a lot more. I don't have the help from his family that I normally would have. So his father can't take him on the weekends, so I can't get my couple moments of rest. Same with the grandparents. They can't help out, and then he's not going to school, so I don't have that 6 hours a day where it was all about my self-care. Because if living with rheumatoid arthritis and taking care of it already is a full-time job. So there's been all of that, and then making sure now that I have to keep him entertained, because spring break is done, and that was great. He loved spring break. He loved the moments where he could play video games all day, but he gets bored after a while. And with us being stuck mostly inside, and it's been finally beautiful in Vancouver, it's been kind of a challenge explaining to him why we can't go see his friends, can't go see his family, and why we're not going to somewhere like McDonald's for a Happy Meal or out to the playground. So it's been a real big adjustment for him as well, and just trying to help him shield him from some of that ugliness, the darkness that COVID-19 is bringing, making it less scary for him.
What techniques have you found useful for dealing with these challenges?
Well, I think right now is a special time that none of us are really experienced in, even though chronic illness has definitely prepared me a lot for long periods of time at home. So I usually always have about 2 weeks of groceries anyways. I usually have 2 weeks of supplies, because if my disease, which is already unpredictable, hits, I don't have to worry about not being able to get those items. So in some ways that's really helped with just being prepared with chronic illness. But I guess for techniques, just going with the flow, mostly because every day is different, you know. When you hear about thousands of people dying around the world, you're kind of grief stricken, and you have to go through those moments of grief without it just bottling up and getting too much for you. So a lot of it's definitely been going with the flow and realizing these are difficult times, and it's okay that, you know, nothing's perfect. And we have to kind of go with our own daily lives just to keep us safe and also keep us moving forward. But our expectations have to go out the window right now, because guilt is a major issue when living with a chronic illness, and especially being a mother, because sometimes I find myself comparing myself to a healthy mom who can work, and I'm like, well, that's not me. I'm different, and that's okay. I do what I can do best. So a particular thing for me and my son is we constantly try to focus on the positives rather than the negatives. So it's, I guess that's the biggest technique that I've figured out right now. We're only about a month into the whole isolation, so we'll see if I've developed more techniques over time, because it's also a learning experience for, I guess, the entire world.
Yeah, absolutely. So it sounds like expectations, like being kind to yourself, not having hard expectations on yourself is key, and staying positive, it sounds like.
Mm-hmm.
I'd be curious to know as well, you mentioned that it's a challenge, like explaining to your son what's happening. Do you have a technique for that?
So explaining exactly what germs and viruses and disease are to somebody who's very young, like only 7, you're kind of scared of giving them nightmares. So that was definitely a challenge, like, because he's always been knowing, like, I'm not going to catch rheumatoid arthritis from my mom, but now I can catch coronavirus from anyone, which is like kind of different in a child's mind. And luckily, because I am ill, he has a better understanding of doctors and healthcare and whatnot. And he understands my concerns and why I'm shielding myself and why we're shielding the grandparents in particular. So what I found really helpful saying when he was kind of struggling with the social distancing part, because he couldn't see his friends, which we would normally be active and see every day. They live 2 blocks down the street from us, and we love being a part of their lives and being physically active with them. And so I've had to explain to him now, like, this is like a prolonged game of hide and go seek, and we're hiding from germs. And when your friends or anybody touches you or comes within your bubble, you're it. And unfortunately, it means you might have coronavirus. But it's been a good way to kind of make him sort of understand how to implement social distancing in a child's mind. So the other day, actually, we did a little meet up with our friends. We stayed the 6 feet apart, and they did a really good job. The children, I was really surprised that they've actually started to get it. And yes, at first it was definitely difficult, but you know, I had to raise my voice to the loudest I could, possibly a few times, to get them to listen. But I guess in the end, it was kind of worth it. And the few moments that we can maybe see someone for 15 minutes while practicing social distancing has been great.
Yeah, absolutely. So it sounds like that you do have a lot of these really great techniques, and through experience of living with the disease and being a parent for so many years before this COVID-19 situation. What advice would you like to give to other parents with inflammatory arthritis during this time?
Well, definitely seek help if you need it. There's, I guess it depends on which community and the support system that you have in place already. But if you do need help, definitely reach out for it. Try and stay inside as much as possible unless you're being active a little bit outdoors, but, you know, no, social distancing and making sure you're carrying, you know, hand sanitizer or wipes or masks or whatever you need to protect yourself. And then just also making sure you're teaching your child to really wash their hands and how to do that, not to touch their face. It's definitely a challenge with living with something that causes fatigue, cognitive dysfunction, and pain. Those are all very distracting symptoms, and they can be quite debilitating. So it can be kind of hard to always have an eye on your little one, but it's just that consistency in trying to teach them, because eventually they do pick it up. I've noticed my son starting to pick it up. And so, yeah, it's just being consistent with what you're doing. And then I always suggest just being physically active and eating healthy, communicating with others, talking to each other is really, really beneficial, because these times are definitely going to have probably some serious mental health side effects to probably a lot of us. So yeah, my advice is just do what you need to do to take care of yourself.
Yeah, and that can be challenging, so I appreciate it. I
Yeah.
think it's really important to emphasize.
You definitely can't take care of your little ones if you don't take care of yourself first.
Yeah. Yeah, well, it sounds like you have a very smart little boy who has learned a lot already just being your son, and is more conscious of things in daily life that maybe children without a parent who didn't have a chronic disease might not have those skills in the same way. So that's really nice. And then one thing I wanted to ask as well is, with your experience being involved with several different arthritis organizations, do you have any resources through those organizations or elsewhere that you'd like to direct our viewers to that could be helpful?
Yes, so my favorite parenting with chronic illness resource would be from Mariah Leach. She does the Mamas Facing Forward blog and community on Facebook, and that's got not just help for people living with arthritis, but other conditions like MS or epilepsy and all sorts of different conditions. And then, of course, what Joint Health and Arthritis Consumer Experts are doing. And then you will find so many resources available through Arthritis Research Canada or the Arthritis Society, and not to name drop or anything, but my blog, Chronic Eileen.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely name drop your blog. Chronic Eileen is amazing. I was looking at it just the other day, and there's always so much wisdom and comfort to get from hearing about somebody else's experience and their advice. Mm-hmm. Do you find that during this time you've been able to get a lot of support online? Do you find comfort in speaking to other mothers in this situation?
Definitely. I've noticed not even just the arthritis community, but so many different communities around the world are actually really coming together in ways that they've never before have come. I guess maybe because we always took these communities for granted before. So I've noticed a lot of moms coming together to create more resources, patients coming together to create resources, and just talking with each other. I have so many more people checking in with me. And now I also have so many more people who understand my condition more better, especially with the issues of Plaquenil and the shortages, and how lupus and RA are consistently on the news now. So it's an immunocompromised patient. So it's definitely going to change things for the chronic illness community, I think. People are going to have a better understanding and maybe be more supportive of what we go through.
I love that. That is such a beautifully positive and true thing that could come out of this. Thank you for drawing attention to that. That makes me very happy.
I really hope so. Unfortunately, there's going to be so much bad that comes out of this, but hopefully find a bit of the good. And sorry, my cat's kind of saying hello at the same time.
Right. Well, thank you so much for the insight that you have given to our patient community, other parents living with inflammatory arthritis, and just parents in general. Thank you so much, Eileen.
Thank you for having me here today, and keep up the great work.
Thank you. And we just want to remind our viewers that they're more than welcome to leave feedback after this video. We're going to post links to Eileen's blog, as well as the other resources that she mentioned. And please join us on Friday for our Facts Friday episode of Arthritis at Home. Thank you.